Hello everybody, how are we all doing? I hope we're having a lovely weekend so far. Today is Saturday the 3rd of August 2013, and we are here and back to review chapter 58 overall, or part 3 of 12 of Olympus, starring Diana of Themyscira there. Again, epic chapter. I absolutely loved last week's chapter, which I think so far for me is probably the best chapter written. Not just for this story arc, but probably overall, for all the major arcs anyway. That's not including the side stories. It was very solid. It had so much surprises and twists and hints and, you know, flashbacks. Also, it was just brilliant. It really was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. So this week's chapter, we go back 15 years to Themyscira, because I did mention last week that it would be nice to get some more flashbacks to you know, what's happening on Themyscira between Steve, Trevor and Diana. Obviously they first met each other as kids, according to Smallville. So because in the comics, in certain interpretations, you know, Steve Trevor stumbles upon Paradise Island, you know, whilst he's flying his plane. That was either in World War II or, you know, more present day war that he was in. You know, so he's a full-grown man by the time he finds Paradise Island. So, but here they decide to change it slightly by introducing them as kids, which I think is actually really sweet. It's much more touching as well. So anyway, Steve Trevor is making, this is cute, an American football for Diana, pretty much teaching her the ways of how to play said sport. They come across a grave, well, I say two graves, so I'm not too sure who these people are, but it's quite kind of surreal in some sense. So as I say, Steve's trying to teach her how to play American football, and that's when Hippolyta, Diana's mother, shows up with a few of her sisters, and well, basically, Paradise Island is a woman-only island. No men are allowed. So the fact that they find Steve there, they pretty much capture him. Diana is not happy about it, so she tries to fend off the girls. And I think one of them must be Artemis, because there is a redhead girl here. So, Brian, if you can confirm that for me, please let me know if that was true. Because Artemis is like one of the most intrepid warriors on Amazon, and she is fantastic. She is hardcore. If you've read Superman, Batman, Supergirl, her and Supergirl have a little, you know, training session going on. She's not even afraid of Superman. That's how tough Artemis actually is. She is tough. So anyway, we'll go back to Metropolis in present day, where Lois eventually catches up with Diana, and they have a little conversation with each other. You know. It's funny how Lois is trying to find Diana. She finds her by, you know, talking to various people who Diana has had a few scuffs with, and by scuffs I mean she's pretty much broken their jaws and left them hospitalised in some cases. Then also she apparently she's interested in. She knows who General Sam Lane is, because when Lois introduces herself, she suddenly realises, oh, you're the daughter of General Lane, who's in the military. But then, so they're trying to, you know, as I say, they're talking, and the way that the media has been displaying Diana, she's trying to let Lois know that, yeah, she's a warrior. She is from a fierce, as she puts it, a fiercely proud nation. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, these two-winged creatures start attacking. On both Diana and Lois, but we don't see what happens straight away. We will get to that, because what happens then, it cuts to Clark eventually in the secret hideout of where D.E.O is stationed. Obviously Steve Trevor introduced himself to him. You know, they know all about checkmate in particular. I mean, it even says here, Steve actually says to Clark, he says, now, unfortunately, Mr. Kent, the Department of Extra-Normal Operations, it's D.E.O for short, or the actual abbreviation rather, can't allow you to reveal much more than our name and purpose to the public. So, pretty much, if Clark was to write a story of the D.E.O, they wouldn't let him print it unless he doesn't actually state where they are, where they're located, and that's it. And you know, they just don't want their location to be known as such. So Clark is getting the scoop, as it were, from Steve, and there was a quote. I can't remember. I was reading this, and there was a quote that sort of stood out, and I can't remember if it's from Clark or Lois or one of the characters, but it was quite an interesting quote as well, and I'm just trying to remember where it was from. But anyway, I'll move on. Sorry. So we go back to Lois and Diana scuffling with these two creatures, because the alarm goes off at the D.E.O, and it even... that's what I was looking for. Team 7. That's where it was. Yes, Team 7 to flight deck. So, again, if you've read the comics, you'll understand who Team 7 are and who some of the characters that are part of Team 7. Although, unfortunately, in the New 52, they've somehow been disbanded, cut off. No longer Team 7. So, yeah. Not going to get too into that anyway. So Team 7 to flight deck, and then Steve Trevor runs off, leaves Clark in you know, on his own. But obviously Clark's like, well, hey, don't worry if I don't tag along. And Steve's like, well, who said you were invited anyway? Of course he was invited, but then again, he is Superman, so he can easily get to where he needs to get to in no time at all. So yeah, Diana and Lois are fighting these creatures, and even Diana compliments Lois and says, "You fight well, Lois Lane," which is fantastic. And then eventually she introduces herself to Lois during this fight, that her name is Diana, she's a princess, you know, and then she gets attacked by one of the winged creatures. But what I love is this little quote from Diana. It says, "What suitable mate can there be for a woman as independent and strong as you, sister?" Because Lois is like, you know, you and my fiance are going to have loads to talk about. And I think that was the actual quote I was looking for, because we all know the history of Superman and Lois, and then Superman and Wonder Woman as well. And the fact that Lois says here, you and my fiance are going to have loads to talk about, I'm just hoping that's not a hint to the future, or what could likely come to pass and may not last very long, as we already know with Superman and Wonder Woman. So, Lois fans, you might want to just keep a lid on it for the time being, is all I'm going to say. So when Diana says that quote about who, you know, what suitable mate can there be for a woman as independent and strong as you, in comes Superman. She went, one who's surprisingly light on his feet, which is just, you can't introduce Superman in a more better statement than that. So he pretty much deals with the creatures, and then towards the end, well, someone gets a surprise. Diana gets a surprise when she sees a certain Steve Trevor arrive. He bursts into the this abandoned church that Diana and Lois and Superman were in, and he's wondering, you know, Steve Trevor's now thinking, okay, who was that? But here's the real twist. Apparently Lois and Steve know each other quite well as well, and even Superman's like, Miss Lane, you two know each other? And she's like, well, he's kind of my ex. And I'm like, wait, what? Lois and Steve Trevor as well. I'm just like, whoa. So that side of it ends there, and then elsewhere. Now, if you remember in last week's chapter, was it last week or the week before, the first chapter, I think, where these 5 individuals were going to take down Director Bones, and then they suddenly teleported somewhere. Well, we find out where they teleported. Well, I say we find out where. We don't know exactly where. It just says elsewhere. But a certain individual by the name of Faust was responsible for them appearing in the first place. And for those of you who are not familiar with Faust, I suggest you look him up, read about him. Let's just say he's one of Diana's well, he's like Diana, he's one of Diana's nemesis. Sorry, I just can't get my words out today. But yeah, he is one of Diana's nemesis, and he really is all about taking down Diana and wanting her to, you know, feel his wrath and all that sort of stuff. And he really does use people, you know, even if they are more powerful than him. He always finds a way to use people. And Felix Faust, he is pretty much like the devil as such. So and that's pretty much where it ends. You know, we're introduced to Faust in that sort of sense. But as I say, I think overall a damn good chapter again. Really, really solid. Yeah, absolutely pleased with it. So well done again, guys. That was absolutely brilliant, absolutely beautiful. So I think next week obviously is the return of Hollow, the third chapter of the side story, and then we're back the week after with Olympus, hopefully. It's always difficult with the way that the scheduling occurs, and then I'm guessing that the print version of Olympus, I think, will be out, won't it? Next week, I believe, yeah. So yeah, there we go. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Sorry for the length of this video, and I shall see you all very soon.